What is up, everyone? Ignore the mess in the shop. We've been going pretty crazy on part outs and stuff, trying to get everything shipped and just get a lot of room made in the shop because, you know, we have too much crap in here, let's be honest. If you guys missed our last video, we actually finished up the undercoating process and got our full body completely resealed and recoated on our 93 convertible. Looking mighty fresh and clean. Now, since we have all of that done, we can actually move on with assembling everything on the bottom side. This car's been a big pain in my butt because it doesn't roll. It's taking up my whole shop, and think of all the parts that came off of this thing that's sitting back in the other room. I need room. We got to get this thing out of here. Plus, I want to get my car fixed. But before we get started on this, so yes, for those of you who don't know, I actually do part out Z's. Yeah, sad thing, but some of them, I mean, we need to get rid of them to help other cars stay on the road. And well, not only am I parting out this chassis of our old drift car, since we're converting to this, we actually just picked up this 2+0 automatic, and it's up for part out, panels, chop, anything you guys may need. So if you guys are looking for anything, drop it in the comments below, or look in the description, DM me on Instagram or Facebook and get a hold of me. We'll sort something out. And also, when I went to go get that car, the guy who had it literally just has everything. He gave me like all of these taillights, mirrors, just random assorted stuff, like 3 crates worth. So we're looking up part numbers on this stuff like the past day or so, trying to see what we can list and make a little bit of extra money. Who knows, the car may pay for itself. You can't ask for more. But enough of all that. Let's get to work. I actually probably need to put some shoes on first. Here's our shipping room, and our shipping room has actually been taken over. And you would think, like, what, by boxes? No, like all of this stuff here, all of that up there, got brake lines. There's just stuff everywhere here for that convertible. We need to take all of that and we need to start filling it out back on the underside of this. I think we're going to start fuel brake lines, and who knows, maybe we'll see if we can try to find a fuel tank or work on a subframe. Let's go get some shoes on and maybe a sweatshirt. It's starting to get chilly out. So it's the next day. We actually ended up, I assume, getting food poisoning last night, so we took that one down. I honestly can't remember if I said yesterday, the goal for this video is to pretty much be able to set this thing on some wheels or something at least. So maybe we can either push it out or at least have it where we can move the thing and not have it up on blocks and jack stands all sketchy like. So last night I went ahead and took the time to grab what I could of everything that we're gonna need. Don't have front shocks yet. Got all of our brake lines and stuff, a box of a bunch of assorted things, and obviously like steering components. So I'm thinking maybe first off, we go ahead and we start kind of putting some of this back in. Maybe we can kind of see what the finished product's going to look like with everything in place. So it's a big reason why I want to do this. Why not? We'll start with these. Start with the upper control arms. I'm also really excited to get all of this stuff off my bench because that's what all of these random bolts are, minus the stuff over here is literally just everything for this. Wow, well, I know you guys can't see too great in here, but I just learned something that I did not know. You actually cannot put these in if you have your brake booster in place. Not booster, but your master cylinder. Dang, that stinks. Now we got it on, or at least in, I should say. We should be able to fit our upper control arm bracket. Alright, just like that, it's all set. I know it doesn't look right with all this crusty hardware being in here, but if I had more time and, you know, I guess if on my own car, I can't wait to do all this so we actually, you know, do it all the way. Make it nice, fresh, come back with all zinc bolts and stuff. That was my original intention. It's just not going to work right now. We got to free up some funds and projects and kind of just move on to where we can do something like that. Now I think it's time that we hook our lower control arm through the subframe. Now we need to find a bolt for our upper control arm. I have to say that's probably it. You always want to make sure it threads through everything first, because if you do have this bolt that's back here, it won't fit through this. They're actually a different size. Sweet. Tension rod's up next. Learn from my mistakes. Set it up top first. For some reason I was thinking it bolted through the bottom. Take your two nuts after you pop it in your lower control arm and begin to thread them on. Sweet. Now, to figure out where this goes. Turns out I was actually wrong. The brake line comes through right here. We're going through right up here. Well, you guys, against probably what I should have did beforehand, there's no way I could have threaded all these in ahead of time to save these threads. So we actually have to run to Harbor Freight. We're going to grab a cheaper tap and die set. Hopefully we'll be able to tap all of the debris and spray out of these threads. Fingers crossed, or this may become a nightmare. Off to Harbor Freight. You hear that? No, you don't, because I don't have lifter tape anymore. One of these days, I'll show you guys how to do that. Well, we made it to Harbor Freight. Went ahead, scooped it up. I'm pretty sure this is going to have the right everything. Sweet, I just realized that this has a thread gauge, so that's actually kind of cool. Fairly certain that this is going to have what I need. This thread pitch for the Z and like all of these bolts is probably like one of the most common metric thread pitches, so really shouldn't have anything to worry about. So we just came back and we actually put it to a test to make sure an M6 by 1.0 is exactly what you need. And if you couldn't tell, I actually already managed to do that one. And I did this one down here. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to get access to this one. Now, I'm wondering if our next step should be to put these on, which if we do, we're actually going to start with the harness in the back. So let's grab all of our mats and let's lay everything down and get it to where we're not laying on the bare ground. And let's check for any more potential threads that need to be chased, tapped, or cleaned. Because this section right here is what we're going for. So pretty much to clean these threads out, you just thread the tap in a little bit, get it straight, and you go back through and you just kind of clean it up. Don't just constantly torque. I mean, you can, but if you do this, it cleans it, and you know, I feel like it cuts it a lot better. Then you don't have to risk binding it, snapping it, just in case. I mean, let's be real. This is the $20 set from Harbor Freight, so anything's possible. All right, that's what we're looking for. So we've got another one right there. Here, we've actually got 4 back there, about 3 here. We got a couple back here for the backside mount here to this brake line. Let's go clean all these out and we'll be back. You guys get the gist. This is going to be pretty boring. Just gonna cover a lot of ground. We've now tapped them all. Let's see if we can test fit our brake lines. Just as I suspect, brake fluid leaking everywhere. I'm just going to mount one bolt just to kind of hang it up. Let's mount another one. We're only hand tightening as well. We're just kind of threading them in just to hold it into place. And to mount this little junction box, we also have this that we also could not find a replacement on. Now we actually need to thread these up here into these 2 farthest holes. Yeah, we'll do that first. Now I've got both of them on. Still haven't tightened over bolts, but we are just going to go ahead and thread a couple more up, and we can secure this a little bit more. Alright, well, we had to literally take some channel locks and force that bolt through there. That just was not working out. So it looks like we got one up here, and then we mount right here. Alright, now all of them are mounted nice and securely, other than the brakes and stuff, obviously. Haven't made it there yet. Maybe we'll focus this brake line next, since this one is actually smaller because we have fuel lines in this mitts. These actually may all be studs. We may not have to put any bolts in here. We'll see. Now we got them lines all ran. All these are tightened up. We actually got the little junction box there in the front mounted. It's fully secured on the bottom. Now, let's go ahead and just move to this side. And honestly, we're probably going to do the same thing because we've spent the past hour and a half purely tapping threads and cleaning them out. So we're honestly well over halfway done on threads to tap and clean up. Now let's just keep busting along. Officially have all of our lines up, completely secured all the way over. So I just remembered, if we put the subframe in, we're gonna have to pull it back out to reinstall the gas tank. Reason I say that is I actually have to pull a gas tank out of another car. The one that was in this was not in ideal shape. Yeah, that just means we got a little bit of extra work. We just won't hook up no e-brakes. We'll just probably drop the subframe in here just so we can get it, you know, to roll. Then it'll be pretty simple to get it out, at least I would think. Actually, now that I think about it, we still never finished securing the lines up here. Yeah, you can see the steering shaft's pinned between the firewall. And once that's done, we can start to tidy this up. All hooked up. Now we can finish up this bay. Not bay, wheel well, whatever. We actually need to find a front shock. Let's hope we got one. Looks like we have one. Now, to find out if it is the correct side. And that tells me this is not the right side. Let's go look for something. I don't know exactly what we're gonna do, but... Well, we just went and grabbed something off our drift car. Well, ex-drift car for the time being. That are some of these nice coilovers. We actually may just leave these on the car, to be honest. I think they'll look good in here. First, let's clean them up a little bit. Now that's much more presentable. Wow, it's got a lot of distance to go before it gets bolted up top. It's at least holding itself up now. Now we can go back, torque everything up, at least snug it up. How about these bad boys? Well, everything over here is all finished up. Maybe we'll go start the other side. At least on the other side, we do have a brake caliper. But that actually makes me want to not use this rotor since the caliper's already bolted onto the other rotor. So this will just purely be for cosmetics for now. Nonetheless, even though they're max speeding rods, them dudes are looking pretty nice in there, especially with the fresh new black. And let's do a little bit of a transformation over here in this one. I'm running out of daylight here. I don't really have a whole lot of time, so I'd really just like to get this mounted up. And thankfully this has brake lines, so we can literally get everything sorted and just finished over here on this side. I think we are going to take those max speeding rods and throw them on here as well. Quick before and after. Now we got everything all hooked back up, minus the steering rack. That's the single-handedly only thing. Brake lines finished out. All bolts and stuff torqued. I actually think we're going to go find a wheel to throw on over here. The only difference from the other side is this side has the rotor and brake on already. So realistically, we can still just throw the rotor on and throw another wheel on the front. So let's do that, so then hopefully then we can move on to the back. Holy cow. That just did not want to go on, and I guess I see why. It's because since the tie rod's not on there, it just makes it want to flop. No need for all of them. Just going to come right back off. Check out what I noticed about this rotor. It's got a literal flat spot. I've never seen that before. Now we're officially ready to lower this thing down to the ground. Still got the sway bar to hook up. I don't think that's going to be any issue for right now, especially just to lay it on the ground. I hear people deleting sway bars all the time. Yeah, I still really need to find that brake caliper as well. It's got to be somewhere. Now why don't we go ahead and mount our coolant overflow. This is just one less thing to be laying on the ground. Well, it's probably smart to, you know, do the actual pickup first. Really not so sure why that was such a tight fit, but it definitely was. So one more thing out of the way. Figured while we're at it, why don't we go ahead and put this washer fluid reservoir on. Man, this thing is tough to get in here. Wiper reservoir installed. Can't forget those couple of connectors. Well, and now we take a sigh of relief. Yeah, I think we're ready to put this thing on the ground. Now the problem is, how? We could definitely do this. We'll just have to add 2 pieces of wood. Now we're doing this just to get the wood block out. So when we take that wood block out, we'll drop it about another inch, and then we can put that block on top of our jack. Okay. And we can go back and use it for any stability that we may need. Now we're doing that so we can lower it an extra couple inches now, and then to go back and check our work. The back is doing just fine. Forgot to mention. Alright, now I gotta reset the back. Oh, we're back on the ground. Finally, for the first time in what, 4-6 months, this Z sits back on the ground. Looks kind of nice with these wheels. I think I may have to throw these wheels with the car when we sell it. Trade it, sorry. Now let's see how we're going to be able to muscle this rear subframe all the way into here from out here by myself at that. This would be a good time to have some friends that ain't busy, but they're always busy. Well, I went and got my help, so let's go ahead and carry this thing all the way into the barn. I've got it in here. You guys can't tell by all the scratch marks out there, if you can even see them in my lack of breath. I flipped it up like tall side and like rolled it. Wasn't a good idea, so I just lifted it, carried it a foot at a time. Whew. Now my back is a little tight. I don't think I hurt it though, so that's good. Let's go get some water. We need that more than anything. Usually like to go to the front middle of the dip. We actually have our other jack over here lifting it up, so we didn't have to lift it, so we could actually get it to teeter and balance there. Now, if anything, we can use this jack towards the front portion of the diff by the sway bar, and we can help ensure that this thing stays level. Now we just have to keep going back and forth, slowly raising and moving it back and forth at the same time until we get it directly aligned right there with our stud. Same will go for over here. Actually, it looks like the subframe needs to twist. Let's go up with the diff now. Now we're starting to lose balance. Let's go catch up with our front jack, or our small jack, I should say. We got one stud on over there on your side. Now we just need to kind of rotate the rest of it while keeping it on that stud to line it up. I'm just going to line the front, and then we'll come back and start lifting on the rear. And that should lift it straight up on there where we want it, since the front is already aligned. There we go. Put a little bit of extra persuasion up on these. There we go, just like that. Same for the rear. There we go. If it starts to catch, it's because you're not balanced and one side's fighting the other side. Oh, okay, we are all the way on. I didn't think we were. Now let's finish it on the back side. There we go. And then it's literally as easy as taking one of these with a nut in it and securing your subframe. Just like that. These front ones actually have a bracket that bolts over here. I need to go find that. Now for the passenger side. I think we should be able to lower this one now. Yep, there was no flex on the subframe whatsoever. Sweet, one more step done. Well, we just gave these bad boys a little coat. Now it's time to flip them and give them another coat. Same time, we're going to spray these up a little bit and freshen them up just a little bit. Literally just rust converter. Nothing special, nothing fancy, just something to cover up the rust and, you know, seal it out. That's all it needs. Brings it back to life. These are looking good enough. At least this one is. It's definitely going to look nice against the rest of the crust. Kind of level it out a little bit, especially against this nut. Now you take both of your 14 mils, and those will thread right up here. Yeah, it's looking like I should have cleaned up the bolts. Now, unless I grab a wire brush and decide to clean this up, this is how we're going to have to clean the threads. Not going to force it like crazy just in case it were to strip. Now I'm fairly confident that we're on the threads. One side done, one to go. There's our subframe fully mounted. Let's see if it's actually fully mounted. Yeah, sweet. Victory! Even though we knew that was going to happen. There's one real big step before we finish tonight. Technically two, but one we have to do to get to the other one. Here we've got some shocks. I say we go ahead and throw these bad boys on so we can sit this car back on the ground. So relieving when you take a car down and pretty much make it not a car anymore for a project that's so deep and involved. It feels good to get it back on the ground, you know, looking like a car again. It's a late night. Probably already 10:30 right now. We'll see. Let's keep trucking along. Pretty sure these pointed bolts are the same. Yep. Now these are a little trickier to mount due to all of this back here. Just means there's a couple more panels to take care of. Gotta find the oh crap lever. Release this. Make sure it doesn't spring up too hard. Right there is our shock tower cover, whatever. So it's right under this little guy. Let's clean this thing up a little bit before we throw it in at least. I think we gotta go in through the bottom here. Man, how far is this gotta go down? Let's quit fighting ourselves. Let's get our big pry bar. I forgot we bought one. Well, this is awkward. I don't really have nowhere to pry. Well, we got to use a little bit of brain power here. I got to figure out how to compress this down while fitting the shock up in here. In one side and out the other. When you don't have a hammer, use a piece of wood. Now, we're not going to worry about the top because those aren't going anywhere. Let's go ahead and pop the other side in so then we can actually raise the subframe back up. Because we had to loosen the back, or the front, I guess they are. And here the back, you can see there's about an inch gap. We have it completely removed, so let's go do the other side. Now we got the strut on. Let's take this stupid little thing off. Now let's raise the subframe and get it to bolt the rest of the way on. Now, arguably the most exciting part on my end, let's go find a couple wheels to put on this. Well, we're gonna need these bad boys if we're putting some wheels on. Now, I'm not 100% sure what wheels. I mean, ooh, it's just lightning. Must be about to storm. Maybe we'll take this one in just to kind of make the set. We'll have to pump it up with some air for sure. And we need one more. Probably that one. Let's go ahead and toss this one on. One wheel done, and we have got one to go. Rotor as well. We did just test fit it, and we kind of bent and made sure that our brake dust shield stays kind of away and doesn't rub. And yeah, I know it's not the matching set here, but the other one's actually over on someone else's car until she gets her alignment done. Hopefully I'll get that back before the tire's too bad. Since we have to take the subframe back off to put the gas tank in, we're not going to worry about the e-brake or the brakes. I still have to find where I did, or what I did with them. I happened to hide them from myself. Got my little helper over there sneaking up. This is just going to be a temporary tire, just to roll around the yard, obviously, since it's not the matching set, but this tire is absolutely cooked. Got light in all the wrong spots. Finally, we are finished with the motor. Now for the part I've been oh so ready for. Let's lift this thing up a little higher. Let's pull these out. One, and there's number two. Both brand new and officially retired from their first job. Touchdown, baby. Oh! You're not supposed to be doing that. No. I guess I gotta chalk the wheel. This thing's about to run me out of the barn. Yeah, buddy. Finally. We're all back on the ground. We're officially a roller. Can't say there's a whole lot more that I'm gonna do tonight. My sidekick's wanting to cut out pretty early, and you gotta listen to her. Ain't that right, Tina? You gonna give me a hand? Thank you. Good girl. Thanks for the hand. We're gonna have to wrap it up here. The car's at least a roller now. All the brake lines are hooked up, plumbed. Pretty much everything on the underside, minus the diff. I mean, we're not gonna worry about that. The connector for the ABS on the diff, that is. We gotta pull the subframe back out, so we're not super stressed about it, but for now, I think this will do. We are riding like a monster truck in the back. Hopefully that'll settle a little bit. But here in the front is a totally different story. See, even she approves. Usually it's way more than that, so hopefully we'll be sitting pretty flush once we get the engine in. Speaking of, stay tuned for next video. Maybe we'll get that engine in, and maybe the transmission as well. Can't say it'll be running. We got quite a bit of tweaks and quirks to work out on this thing before then. So we probably got another video or two worth of that. But we're going to wrap it up here, you guys. Thanks for watching. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe down below. And stay tuned for our next one. And we'll catch you then. Peace.